Well, good morning to you. It is Tuesday, November the 18th, the day after the Game Awards. A lot of debate brewing. So we're going to talk about it today. A lot of disagreement and back and forth. So thank you so much, Ganks and Rope, for being here. I can't use my combined chat app right now. I think Cloudflare is acting up. So like Twitter's not working. Nothing. A lot of websites are not working right now. I couldn't use like reverse image search. I couldn't use it for my thumbnail, and my combined chat app is not opening. It must do something with a server somewhere to open. That's down because of Cloudflare. Internet's surprisingly fragile. It really is. If it's AWS or Cloudflare, anybody like that, it'll it's like nothing works. You know what I mean? Black men don't cheat. What are you saying that for? We're continuing working on restoring service for application service customers. Been down for 4 hours. Are you quoting them, Belly, or do you work for Cloudflare? What's up with Cloudflare? It's some kind of a pretty significant outage. It seems like Twitter has recovered. I wasn't able to do much this morning. It was difficult to just find images and make a thumbnail because there was just my normal websites that I use weren't working. You got notice for both? Okay, good. Oh, that's a quote. Okay. Yeah, so they're working on it. Then putting South of Midnight in the won't category is a major slap in the face. What? What do you mean? I don't understand what you're saying. Just spreading the truth? The truth about what? What do you mean? Donkey Kong nominated is a friggin' joke? Why is that a joke to you? Did you see how well it did in the review circuit? It's one of the highest scoring games this year. I'm playing through it right now, and it is a very, very good game. Games for Impact? Yeah, I know what category you're talking about. I don't understand how that's a slap in the face. I'm not sure what. I don't know the point that you're making. Who's being slapped in the face? Yo, it's good. It's Joe Will. What's a joke? Kobayan fan? Is that how I say that? Somebody on Twitch is saying that Donkey Kong getting nominated is a joke. And I'm like, how is it a joke? It's one of the highest rated games this year. You don't have to like it, but it's a really quality game. It's fun. It reviewed well. I think it sold well. It checks a lot of boxes for being a good game. Quality game. You'll be sparse today, sick as a dog. No worries. Good morning, Damien. Hope you're doing better every day. Know you're recovering and stuff. Yeah, I couldn't even use the bot in the Discord. I couldn't even get the bot. South of Midnight doesn't send any message. I can't even use the Game Awards website. I'd have to look at the description of the category, FCAT. It's called Games for Impact. So I don't know if that South of Midnight doesn't fit in that category. South of Midnight did have a very good soundtrack, but it's ridiculous this year. The competition is so steep. Yote's soundtrack was incredible. Death Stranding 2's soundtrack was incredible. Expedition 33. I can't remember what else is nominated. I've got an Insider Gaming article that I was using because I don't even know if they're going to be accessible right now because of Cloudflare. Let's see. Yeah, I can't go anywhere on the internet right now. Insider Gaming's not working. Game Awards isn't working. We need better. We got to get away from Cloudflare. This is like the second time this year this has happened. I don't even know what it would require, but good golly. Like the internet's at a standstill right now. Still coming off an Expedition 33 high from last night's nominations. 12 noms is insane. It's been nominated for every single award it could possibly have been given a nomination for. The only one that surprised me was sound design. I don't get that one, but everything else, unless they, people were really impressed by, the sounds in combat and the different characters and stuff. You're not the only one whose internet isn't working. I mean, it's Cloudflare. It's basically a form of, what are they? Are they like a DNS, but also like DDoS protection or something? I actually don't even know what Cloudflare does. It's like a DNS, right? That also keeps things from getting DOSed. Monster Hunter Wilds isn't even an RPG. Monster Hunter Wilds isn't an RPG? Ball Pit or Yote over Bonanza? I mean, you can certainly have your own list, but when you look at how this process operates, Yote and Ball Pit really didn't have a chance for Game of the Year. I was trying to tell people that, like, going into this year, I told people very many times that Yote was probably not going to get a nom. Now, after I played it, I said, I actually think it could get a nom. I changed my tune a little bit. My position largely stayed the same, though, that it was likely going to get beaten by Death Stranding for the nom, because they would be considered like adjacent games. And if it got nommed, I was like, there's no way it's going to win. And Ball Pit is certainly a good game, a charming game. I put over 20 hours into it. I loved it. It's not Game of the Year material. Not over Hades 2 or Silk Song or, Blueprints. I would argue Blueprints was, at some level, more deserving. Like if you're going to try and put some of the smaller games up on the podium, Ball Pit was great, but Blueprints was revered and praised, and it had its own little cultural moment. It was short, but Blueprints was doing things, man. People were talking about it. You had Elijah Wood talk about it in a random interview. Perfect Image says, you like Detective Seed's take? His take on what? I know how it works. I decided what the best games are of this year. Anything that varies is wrong. That's correct. I knew Blueprints was going to get snubbed because of where it fell in the year. I don't think it got snubbed. I think it's ridiculously competitive this year. You have games at the caliber of Yote not getting a nomination. In other years, Yote would have been up there, no question. Like if Yote would have come out last year, 100% would have been a nom. It probably would have lost to Astrobot because Astrobot kind of took the world by storm. But Yote 100% would have been nommed in previous years at its quality, all of the boxes that it checks, because it got a lot of nominations in general. But the unfortunately his dad died this morning. Yeah, I saw that. I'm not sure what Perfect Image was talking about though. So what was I saying? Oh yeah, I don't think Blueprints got snubbed because of where it fell in the year. I think Blueprints justifiably didn't get a nomination because there was just no room for it. There was no room for it. I mean, Silk Song and Hades 2 came out of nowhere and were like, yeah, by the way, we're going to be two of the greatest games this year. I mean, I put Silk Song down, but I'm going to defend its ability and its standing. Like, it 100% deserves the nomination. Highly praised, highly reviewed, super big game. They poured a lot into it. I mean, I disagree with some of the design philosophy, but I don't know if my critiques of design philosophy take away from the game's, quality and, praiseworthiness. So I don't know, man. Blueprints was just not going to stand a chance against this year. You want Shinobi? I think it's going to go to Ninja Gaiden 4. I would love for Shinobi to win because I love Shinobi, and Ninja Gaiden is certainly, from what I can tell, a very good game. It's just not for me. I was like, I can't hang. I couldn't put Shinobi down. I'm just wired in a certain way. Some games just don't click. Just wish Hades 2 was on Xbox and PS5. Right. I mean, it'll get there eventually, I'm imagining. Surprised Yote didn't get a Game of the Year nom. Why not? 6 noms the max. 6 nominations means that there was basically a tie. So it's supposed to be 5. So it's been 6 for Game of the Year, I think, for a while now. Because I think what ends up happening is it's such a close race. They just end up putting, positions 5 and 6 in the running. Because they're probably pretty close. They're close enough to be considered a quote-unquote tie. I have a severe hard time believing that, conveniently every year there's a tie. I don't think so. I just think it's close enough every year. They're like, yeah, just do 6. It's probably good for viewership to have 6 instead of 5. But I said before Yote came out that it was going to struggle to get a nomination this year. And then when Hades 2 and Silksong hit, it was like, yeah, probably not, because we know those games are beloved. We know they're high quality. We know the review outlets love them. The only disadvantage that I said Silksong and Hades had was they didn't have as many reviews because difficulty pushes some of the outlets and some of the reviewers off the table. Like, they either can't finish it or they don't like it. So there's just less reviews. So I thought that was potentially going to hurt. I thought that was going to potentially hurt both of those titles, but they stood tall anyway. They did totally fine. They both got nommed. So I love that Hades 2 is cross-save on Switch 2. Getting off my PC and playing handheld seamlessly feels great. That actually is nice. I didn't realize that it was cross-save. Do you feel like in the handheld mode, do you feel like you get consistent performance? Because that's certainly a game... That's certainly a game where I don't know if performance is struggling, it'd be pretty tough, I would think. To play it. I gotta schedule the stream. Yeah, we'll watch it's the Xbox partner event or whatever it's called. Yeah, we'll cover that. I love covering live events. It's like, oh, there we go. Polygon works. All right, thank you. The chat. Oh, that tweet. Perfect image. I'm not gonna get into it. All I'm gonna say is, I have the highest level of skepticism and doubt about that tweet. There was nothing in it that felt compelling. There was nothing in it that felt authentic. Tom Henderson recently said that PlayStation was clamping down on leaks. We've had a couple of sources say they're hearing rumblings that like stuff's being reconsidered. And then you're going to put a book on Twitter. I mean, that was a long tweet. There are so many people with sources and so many people with, the ability to get info on this sort of thing. I'm not going to say anything other than what I've said. I have the highest degree of skepticism and doubt about the legitimacy of anything in that tweet. It just doesn't. There's something. Every inch of me felt like this is off. Something's not right about this. So I'm not going to get accusatory. I'm not going to get pulled into some kind of weird drama or anything like that. You're going to out the team your sources on. That was the other thing that I thought was very strange. Like, you're going to make it really easy for people to figure out who your source is when you say what team they're on. Like, that seemed like if whoever shared this information with you is probably going to be like, hey, man, you just really severely exposed me. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, imagine that. Let's just do a thought experiment. Imagine everything written in the tweet is true and accurate. Let's just imagine that it is. If you're on that team, you're like, hey, man, what the frick? Like, that's going to be really easy to trace back to me. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, usually, like when Tom Henderson or Jason Schreier or people that have a proven track record of having sources, whenever they do something like that, they're not like, yeah, somebody from such and such team sent this to me, because that's a really great way to out your source and to get your source in trouble, basically. So that was another part of it that just everything in me, all my hackles were raised. Like, I just felt insanely skeptical of everything I was reading. I was like, this doesn't read. I've read a lot of articles. I've read a lot of, breakdowns, expose, Jason Schreier articles, Tom Henderson articles, right? I've read a lot, and they have a certain way of phrasing things. They have a certain way of saying things. And that thing, what I read just felt very odd. It felt very odd. I don't know. There was something off about it. So it was very PR speaky too. Yeah, I don't have a bunch of WTF DMs were sent this morning. Yeah, there's probably people on the team that are like, number one, none of us said that. Number two, it wouldn't surprise me if they're like, that's not accurate. Nobody on the team would have said those things. It felt like a fake leak to catch a mole. I mean, that's always a possibility that, like, somebody somewhere said, let's flush out. Because, like Tom Henderson said, he literally said, that, hang, you might have got a little bit of an echo there. Let me mute Firefox. He literally said that they're clamping down. That's what he said. So if they're clamping down, it felt really weird that somebody's just going to spill their guts like that. Like, there was very intentional wording to track it. Normal people don't speak like that. There's another reason why it might seem that way, Eugene. I got ChatGPT vibes. So if we believe the best and it's legitimate, then somebody funneled something through ChatGPT to hide who they are. Like, okay, if it's legitimate, maybe somebody did that. If we believe the worst, it's like, well, this is fake, and ChatGPT has been told to make it sound believable, to comb over how gaming developers and how gaming companies talk. So, like, it could be either one. If it's legitimate, then somebody's trying to hide their tracks. If it's not legitimate, then it was done in order to seem genuine. Given what we just recently heard, it just seems really weird that two different people were like, oh yeah, I heard that. I heard the same thing. And then for the literal opposites to come out in that format, in that way, It's not Tom Henderson. It's not Jason Schreier. It's not Jeff Grubb. It's not somebody that we know like concretely has like verifiable sources. It's like, I don't know. This whole thing just feels weird to me. Whenever this kind of thing happens, I like to say, hey, there's a claim being made. Like, I'm not going to go make a video. I always wait. Because usually my commentary is this: where there is smoke, there is fire, right? Something's going on. So when I see what Jez Corden says, when I see Paris Lilly say, I heard the same thing from the same person, I'm like, okay, that's corroboration. It doesn't mean that the claim is like the person saying it to them. It doesn't mean they have good intel. It doesn't mean anything's going to happen, right? We don't know. But the two of them saying, yeah, we heard from a source that this is being discussed right now. I'm like, okay, I think that's believable. It's not that outlandish of a claim that PlayStation's assessing their strategy on PC. That's not that outlandish. If they would have both said, yeah, we both spoke to somebody and they said God of War is coming to Xbox, I'd be like, that's pretty huge. I feel like other insiders would have that intel, right? Their claim is very, very tepid. It's like, this is not boiling water, boys. It is, oh yeah, they're considering, they're discussing, whatever. In light of that, so this is what I try to do. I try to take a look at the whole picture to come to a conclusion. And when I look at the whole picture, you got Jez and Paris saying, yep, we've spoken to somebody and we both heard the same thing. You got Tom Henderson saying they're clamping down. PlayStation's making it harder for leaks to get out. And then I have this very long tweet from Detective Seeds that is saying the literal opposite, and it's worded and phrased and written in a way that's very bizarre. The way I phrased it this morning is, I had the highest degree of skepticism and doubt as I read it. I was just like, I don't know. Like, when I read like a Tom Henderson and a Jason Schreier, even when Jeff Grubb says things and he phrases things, it's like you can tell, oh, okay, this seems legitimate. What I read just felt off. It felt like very Chat GPT. I don't know if there's a way to like run that tweet through a test to see like, hey, did AI write this? If AI indeed did write it, which I'm leaning that way. I'm leaning that way. It could be somebody that's trying to hide their tracks. Like, they are leaking things and they don't want to get caught. So they're typing something and putting it through Chat GPT. You asked him, question, is Sony worried about Steam coming to the console market? I do not get the sense they are worried about it. Obviously, it could be talked about at the C-suite level, but mid-level did not seem to be concerned. Mid-level's not going to be talking about that. That's not within their purview. Like, they're not, that's not even something that would be on their radar, I wouldn't think. There are plenty of AI spell checkers. Half of us in chat have no idea what's going on. All right, I'll just put the tweet. I'll just put the tweet on board. Okay. So he says, breaking. Today I spoke independently with two people from PlayStation who are on Alex Cool Tate's team about PlayStation PC initiatives. Here are the insights. Okay, this is the first indication that made the hair on the back of my neck stand up. It made the hair on the back of my neck stand up. It's like, you just named where they work? Like, what? Like, you named the team that they're on? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, that was the first thing I thought was weird. I was like, wait a minute. That's like rule number one. You don't want to make it clear who you spoke to and where they work. That made me like, wow. I was like, and so what I thought I was about to read was going to be like an interview. I was like, oh wow, he got like an interview with somebody. let's continue reading. I asked about the rumors of PlayStation scaling back on tentpole titles going to PC. Response of both. Okay, no one on our team has been informed of any slowdown on games going to PC. In fact, somewhat the opposite as we continue to look at the health and value of PlayStation and our hardware consumers. Okay, so you're talking to a mid-level person. Like this sentence right here, this sounds like an interview. This is so PR. This is so like PR approved, right? I thought that as well, but he has over 500 people under him. It doesn't matter. You're still in a giant organization. You're making it. You're narrowing things down to a group of people, which would make it really easy to figure out who this is. Extremely easy. Because how many people on the team are even going to be able to say and speak to some of these things? It would be very easy to narrow it down. You'd eliminate entire batches of people right away. You'd be like, well, it wouldn't be these people. You know, they're over here in this department. It wouldn't be these people. They work on this. Like, you'd be able to narrow this down pretty quickly. So this here, in fact, it is somewhat the opposite as we continue to look at the health and value of PlayStation and our hardware consumers. Again, this Quillbot determines it's 0% AI, so 100% fan fiction. Oh, you ran it through a bot testing? So when I read this, I thought, man, that's phrased so bizarrely. That sounds like PR, right? Oh, what happened to my tweet here? Oh, I clicked on it, so it zoomed in. Okay. We are pushing heavily into other countries. So AI detector by Grammarly is saying 0% of this text appears to be AI generated. Okay, so it's not AI generated. Okay, according to two different tests now. So if it's not AI generated, then my question would be, why is it written in such a PR way? This doesn't feel like a quick DM, like, hey man, what's going on? Oh yeah, that we've not heard anything. Right? This is like officially typed. This looks very official. Like somebody officially typed this up, which is just, again, that makes me skeptical. I'm like, that's a very bizarre way to interact with somebody. Like let's say my buddy worked at Sucker Punch and I sent him a DM saying, hey, is Yote coming to PC faster than like other ports? He wouldn't write something like this. Gemini says it has a high chance of AI alteration. So Creature ran a checker that's saying there's a high chance of AI alteration. So maybe it was written by somebody like I said, and they pushed it through like a chat GPT to make its phrasing change to cover their tracks. Because if it is legitimate, that would make sense of why. So if we're doing a thought experiment and we're considering all possibilities, if this is in fact legitimate, somebody could have pushed this through like a chat GP to cover their tracks. We're pushing heavily into other countries, and most of those countries are either PC or handheld dominated, so we have to meet consumers where they are. See, again, this just doesn't sound like you're talking to your buddy and asking him a simple question. This sounds very PR written. Our console will always be at the forefront based on what our outlook is, but we are aggressively moving up that porting timeline on some PlayStation titles going to PC. That could be 1 year, but you are going to see some in the 6 to 8 month window to capitalize on the console release momentum. And this right here, this was the first thing that made me think, I don't know about this. I see no indication from PlayStation of shrinking to 6 to 8 months. They brought Spider-Man 2 to PC, 15-month window, and it had a bunch of problems. That was the fastest they've ever done it. Herman Holst said the fastest you would ever see a game go to PC is 12 months. They got really close to 12 months, and it wasn't in very good shape, okay? 6 to 8 months is crazy fast in the grand scheme of things. That means the game's doing no updates, no DLC, nothing. Because let's just take Ghost of Yote as an example. Ghost of Yote doesn't even have Legends yet. It doesn't have New Game Plus yet. Like, those things come later, 90 days later, 6 months later. So for the game to be ported, usually those things are done and in the market, and then the window of time starts. Your waiting period typically starts after they're done shipping things. So like with Ragnarok, they gave you Valhalla for free, and then it was like a year later that it came to PC. So the total time between Valhalla's release and PC release was longer than a year. And the DLC thing, I think, plays a role there. So you're talking about a huge, you're talking about like a huge jump in timeline if this is true. Hang on 1 second. I'm reading something that I can't read out loud. Okay. I'm being told that this part up here, the 2 people on the team, is going to make this very easy to track down and either corroborate or falsify. That's what I'm being told. I'm being told that privately. So this right here, the 2 people from the PlayStation team or whatever, this is going to make it very easy with people who have sources to track this down and either corroborate it or falsify it. So we may know within the day or within a 48-hour period. We'll have to see if the people looking into this can unearth anything. I asked about Japan having its own state of play and being the first. Response of both. Collaboration across departments has become a pretty big focus for us, and this is something we have wanted to do as we are going heavily into other markets. You should definitely look for more state of plays centered on specific markets in the future, maybe as early as next year. It again is written in a very PR way. This doesn't feel conversational. This feels like an official interview where statements are like sort of prepared ahead of time, which again makes me very skeptical of the legitimacy here. It's like this again could be somebody covering their tracks with ChatGPT, but this again, when you read like an interview with like Variety or Eurogamer or IGN or something, these are how things are phrased and written because they're prepared ahead of time. Like they know they're going to be asked about a state of play in Japan. I don't think this is that wild either to try to speculate. Many people here speculated we could see a China state of play with the China Hero project being the forefront. I asked about more titles coming to Nintendo Switch. Responses. The multi-platform teams are constantly looking at what makes sense for titles to go to other platforms like Xbox and the Switch. We can't really speak for titles going to Xbox or the Switch because right now we have no others that we can comment on going. And this is where it seems like something's breaking. Like the grammar here is awkward. We can't, and now all of a sudden punctuation, okay, so punctuation is now gone. So punctuation has now left the building. Up here, all punctuation is perfect. Punctuation is perfect. Sentence structure is perfect. Use of commas is perfect. Like just analyze how this is written. All your capitalization, all your periods, your commas, your tense agreement within grammar. This is like perfectly written. And now, all of a sudden, the T isn't capitalized, Xbox isn't capitalized, Switch isn't capitalized, and then we have weird grammar. Can't doesn't have its apostrophe, okay? So it's like something's changed now. Maybe this is a different person typing this because there are 2 people sending these messages. So maybe one person is doing the ChatGPT thing and the other person's not. Because look at this. This is a disaster of a sentence. We can't really speak to titles going to Xbox or the Switch because right now we have no others that we can comment on going. Like, okay, that is just wildly written compared to the other, the other sections. The focus for our teams right now are PlayStation hardware, consumers acquisition. So again, we've got oddities. We got no capitalization on PlayStation, and it's just poorly phrased. The focus for our teams right now is, not are. So again, now we've got some more grammatic problems. The focus for our teams right now is PlayStation hardware consumer acquisition, not consumers acquisition. So this now again feels like maybe a ChatGPT got confused. It's attaching R to consumers as an antecedent, I think. Well, maybe antecedent might not be the right word, but R is attached to consumers, which is it's pluraling it, like it's pluralizing it. It's supposed to be attached to the focus. The focus is PlayStation hardware consumer acquisition. This is written very poorly. PC and handheld markets and getting ready for our next console. Okay, so this could just be a different person. I don't know. But this is written 1,000 times differently than up here. Up here is perfectly written. I mean, everything about this is just odd to me. And then this is all over the place, okay? I asked about the release date window for the PlayStation 6. Our teams work very hard, and we want them to be able to debut our hardware as it comes available. Okay, so now we're back to perfect grammar, perfect written PR guy. Okay, this is now who we're back to. We will say that there. See, and again, the phrasing here is so odd. We say that there is something we'll release before the PS6 that players will enjoy, and the PS6 will be announced in a couple of years to begin marketing. I'm telling you, this is so weird. Why would you speak like this unless you're doing an official interview? Like, look at the posture of the statement. We will say that there is something that will release before the PS6 that players will enjoy. Huh? Like, again, this sounds like something that you would say in an interview. I asked one last question. Do you think PlayStation could do a better job communicating with the players and consumers? That is something we constantly talk about between ourselves and even leadership. People forget the majority of us are nerds who play and love video games just as much, and we want to tell you about them. The problem is that we have seen some companies talk about things too early, and there is always uncertainty in game development. So we don't want to put out stuff. There is a change either internally or in the market, and then said thing goes away. That one's phrased a little strangely. We think going forward, you are going to see mostly state of plays, even regionally focused like we said earlier, and then showcase will be saved for console releases. See what I'm saying? What do you mean we said earlier? So both these people are talking at the same time? You know what I mean? Yeah, I got your DM. The person just sent me a DM. I agree with you that there's some oddity going on. So like this phrasing here means both of these people are aware that they're sharing information, answering questions, like we said earlier. So is this a group chat? He says he's going to be interviewing them, one of them openly after Christmas. Showcases will be saved for console releases and other hardware. If we have a game, we have shown the pattern of showing games off that works for us and what we are comfortable showing as the project progresses along. We show initial hype, go quiet to grind, and have other games coming to keep players' attention while games are being built. You should expect to see that trend continue unless another leadership team were to come in and completely flip it upside down, which we do not see happening. Is it translated from Japanese? I don't know. Give me 1 second. Opening the office door. Yeah, I don't know. The whole thing feels weird. It doesn't. It feels written oddly. It's phrased oddly. Why are both people? Why are the closing statements? Both people are aware that they're answering these questions. So again, it's a group. It's like a group chat. You did a group chat to ask these questions, and they're both answering. Like one person's like writing in perfect grammar, like a PR person, and the other person's got terrible sentence structure, and the capitalization's gone, the commas and all the punctuation's gone. It's just very, very, very weird. So my original answer, which you now probably know why, I have the highest degree of skepticism and doubt about this. I look at this and think, somebody's either pulling your leg and messing with you. They're trying to find somebody. Maybe this is all faked to try to find somebody to be like, or whatever. Nothing here is that scandalous, though, to catch somebody. The only thing in here that really stands out is the 6 to 8 month, like, speeding up to coming to PC. Everything else feels like things you could speculate on your own. Like, I'm reading things that I've said I'm like, I've said that. Many of us have speculated that, like, there'll be other state of plays in other regions. They like to show something and then go quiet. These are phrases that I've said out loud, and I'm not saying it's pulling for me. I'm just saying many of us have made these observations. So a lot of this could just be guesses and observations about how they conduct business packaged as an answer. You know what I'm saying? So somebody could be messing with him. It could be totally made up for attention. I don't know. It could be any number of things. The likelihood of this being genuine and being accurate, I feel like is incredibly low. Like almost at a 0. Yeah, and I'm being told by another person here that nobody that leaks has that much visibility. Anyone at that level that would know that much would not betray the company as the stakes are high and they could lose their job. Yeah, I think the probability of this being genuine is almost at a 0. I don't think it's genuine. Now, that doesn't mean I'm making an accusation. Again, it could be somebody messing with him. It could be somebody that's trying to catch a leaker. Something. There could be any number of reasons that this tweet exists. There could be any number of reasons that this tweet exists. Is this a legitimate thing from somebody at PlayStation? I do not think so. I don't. That's my assessment of it. And I think we'll probably know within 48 hours that this is not true. That somebody's going to say, hey, we've reached out to people on that team and we can't corroborate any of this is going to be my guess. So did I see Shroud's VGA nominees? Looks like Cloudflare is back up and running. At least some of the websites I was trying to access are up and running now. I really do think Shroud's leaning into the meme, boys. I wouldn't take it that serious. At least he spoke about it from everybody that start this. I'm not sure what you're trying to say. You voted for Peanut? The job posting was obvious what it was. It didn't take inside information to see what it was for. Yeah, my assessment, given all of the years that I've done this, and given when I read and listen to Grubb, I read and listen to Schreier, I read and listen to Tommy Hendy, okay? I'm like, in this particular instance, I think this individual got lucky with a couple of guesses, maybe had somebody that did say, hey, here's some things, here's some timing of things coming. The information was not sensitive. It was very low level. Like, it was basically announcement timing and release timing of stuff that we already knew. I'm fairly certain it was stuff that we already knew was coming. Everything after that felt like, yeah, I'm going to sort of make my own observations, claim that it's info, and then it's like, hey, I was right about this. And it's like, yeah, but a lot of us felt that way, thought that, whatever. That's just kind of my assessment of what's been going on. And then we went from, no, I'm not going to do leaks anymore, I'm only going to say my opinion, to this. That's the other thing I think that's very strange. The not going to leak anything, not doing that, I'm only going to give my opinion on things. And then I read this thing last night, and I was like, everything about this feels very bizarre. Something's not right about it. Either, again, somebody's messing with you, somebody's tricking you, you know, somebody's fiddling around. Maybe somebody's trying to, again, maybe they're trying to expose a source that's been leaking stuff. Or it's just completely made up. Like, it's one of those three things. The probability of it being genuine, I think, is very low. And I'm basing that off of 10 years of covering games and leaks and blogs and articles and people who have info and people who have sources. I've been doing this a long time. And there's like there's authenticity markers on something that it's sort of there. You can't really put your finger on it, but like there are just authenticity markers on certain things when you read them. Like when Grubb will say something or Tom Henderson says something, you can sense authenticity in it. There's phrasing, there's words used. It's just, and then the articles themselves, especially when something's very formalized, it won't do that. It won't name the team that the people are on. It won't have like PR pre-written responses. Like I don't think I've ever seen a leak like this ever. Like I don't know if we've ever seen one like this. Like when Moore's Law is Dead leaked something or Tom Henderson leaked something. It is like data driven. They've got spreadsheets, they've got documents, whatever. When Schreier does like an expose, he will say, I spoke to people wanting to remain anonymous. They're not authorized to speak publicly about the project. And he'll do paraphrases or he'll do direct quotes, but they're never written like that. It's usually, you can tell somebody like saying something or writing something very, very informally. So I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. We had a rumor about PlayStation pulling back on PC, and he said something, so there's something. But your logic is I wouldn't say that's very sound logic. You're basically saying, well, this thing came up, and he's saying something about it, so that means there's something to it. No, not necessarily. It's a very relevant topic, and that's a really great way to get attention and traction in this attention economy, to speak about something and to say, hey, I've got information on this topic that everybody's talking about. That doesn't mean that the information is legitimate. Again, it could be somebody messing with him and tricking him and saying, hey, well, it's phrased as if he went to get the info. That's how it's phrased. It's phrased in a way where, hey, I went and got this info for you guys. I spoke independently with two people. So it's phrased in a way that like, hey, I went and got this info for you guys, because this is a relevant topic. Oh, I didn't see the renewal. Yo, Snow, how are you? 7 months of resubs. 7 months? Ew. Wait, what's wrong with 7? Why are you saying ew? We can move on and wait because we have gaming awards to talk about. Yeah. I didn't really plan on doing much with it. I didn't do much with what Jez said. I didn't do much with what Paris said. It was just like, my basic assessment is there's a discussion happening at PlayStation about their strategy of PC, and that's about it. I don't think we can say much else than that. Hang on, I'm sorry, what? Hang on a second. There we go. That was wild. That might have been it. Was that a Cloudflare thing? It shouldn't have been a Cloudflare thing. That's just running on my hard drive. Let's see. Reset. We got one from Snow, and we got one from K. Cole. Thanks for 34 months in a VIP. Appreciate it. Zubair says, I appreciate that. I was never going to see that otherwise. Yeah, I don't have any problem talking about it. I'm not going to make content and videos and do what I did. I didn't even plan on doing that. But the more I read it and the more I even analyzed it with you guys, the more problems stood out to me with it. I was like, there's something off here. I don't know enough to make, a conclusion. I just know that there's a lot of lack of authenticity markers in that. It seems like somebody made it up. I don't know, again, who did. Yo, Alex, thank you for 8 months. 8 months, I'm almost fully formed. Let's get you added to the total here, sir. I guess I think your content is good or something. Well, I appreciate that, Snow. You also have great content. Okay, so this is what we're going to need to do. We need to go to the live. I don't need to take a break. I took it before I started morning coffee. Yeah, Moonlighter 2 is tomorrow. And then what, Cosmic Invasion is December the 1st? Okay. Let's get this off the screen. We don't need that just yet. You actually did a pre-show dump? Yeah. What the heck? You know, the time change is probably helping us with that. This probably is. Yo, Henry coming in with 3 months. Appreciate you, brother. Welcome back. There we go. Sorry. Thank you for 3 months, man. Okay. Okay, let's see here. Did I set up redirect? I did. He just took a break before he started working. Well, no, I'm working before I go live with you guys. I'm working on the couch out there. I'm getting everything ready for the day. And then I go upstairs and make sure the kiddos are ready, coffee's ready. I make coffee for all of the moms that are at this thing my kiddos do on Tuesday. All right, so YouTube. I don't have combined chat. Let me see if I can open my combined chat now. That it seems like it might have been related to Cloudflare. Let me see if I can get that open before we start, because I didn't see some of the stuff that you guys were saying. And it was because my combined chat won't open. And I assumed it was because of Cloudflare. Let me try and open it. Okay, I got my little streamer bot loading thing. Oh, there we go. Okay, yeah, it must at some level run on Cloudflare, because I just couldn't get in. It would not open. All right. Did I miss anything else on Twitch, though? Did you guys send anything, do anything? Okay. Yeah, if you guys ever send anything and I don't get it, let me know. Okay. All right. I got like a bullet point script going. Oh, okay. 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 So yes, YouTube, you guys can use the link in chat. I'm going to redirect you, okay? Well, the Game Awards 2025 nominations are in, and we did our own Game Awards 2025 nominees reaction. You can check that out. We watched it together, co-streamed it. We did have to mute a section of the broadcast because they must have played copyrighted music at some point, which was kind of weird, and that did make the chat unavailable. Anytime we have to modify a past broadcast, that happens, so I am sorry about that. It was a lively discussion. We're going to have another lively discussion because in the wake of the Game Awards of 2025, just the nominations, there is a debate brewing. And it centers around Expedition 33, Arc Raiders, the various categories. Let me end the previous stream where we were hanging out and we were doing some morning coffee. That is something that we do just for the members. So if you are around this channel on a regular basis and you have not decided